obviously, as you guys are coming in, hit the, feel free to drop a comment about whatever. Should we start with the good stuff first? Uh, the defense obviously looked pretty impressive. Just a lot of chaos going on, even though this is not the, full throated version of what Durante Jones is playing is going to look like, but they got a lot of pressure. Obviously, Amik Robertson, second play. Um, Amik Robertson, second play, comes up, blitz, hits the quarterback, fumble, ball gets backward. Joshua Joseph's there for the touchdown. What they have 4 sacks, 2 turnovers in the first quarter and a half. And this is without Away, Chase on Payne, Armstrong. So they got a lot of good stuff. Joseph's, Jean Baptiste had some pressure. Quan Martin with an interception. That group looked. I mean, it's hard to argue with too much on that side of the ball. The run defense, yeah, that's I guess where we can quibble with some things for sure. Let's see here. The Lions are Yeah, the Lions are averaging 5 yards a carry. Again, when you don't have Payne in there, you gotta have to factor in that that's gonna be key for there. And then the Josh Dobbs run, the 50-yard touchdown run. I mean, looking at the play, looked like Washington had like 9 guys within 6 yards of the line of scrimmage. On the right side, you had 2 rookies, Joshua Josephs on the end, Sonny Styles lined up like 5 yards off the line of scrimmage, and the read option, Dobbs, the fake, both Josephs and Styles definitely bid on it. Styles went inside, got blocked out. Josephs ran right past the quarterback hard, and then Dobbs turned up the field, and there was nobody there to catch him. So obviously problematic there. Again, it's sort of okay, but like you're not going to have 2 rookies there when the games are for real, right? I mean, and I'm assuming we'll see Owe and Chase on back sooner than later. Um, you you know, um, that's it's not going to be. You're going to have that level of experience, nonetheless. Um, Poor play. Tyler Owens had one of the big plays of the half, that rock'em sock'em, uh, pancake block as the defender on the running back trying to block him. I've said before, I think Tyler Owens is making this team. Plays like that kind of show you what the potential is with him. All right, let's get to the other side of the ball. Woof. Before we even get to the 3 plays, look, I've talked about this. I asked Dan Quinn just Thursday, what's the cost benefit analysis of playing these guys for 3 plays or 1 series versus, the potential injury risk versus not? And I just don't. Look, if they had just not played him, I'd have been okay. I mean, like, I get it. If you just want to say, hey, it's not worth the risk, fine. But to say that it's 1 series and out, especially when the 1 series is 3 plays. He sacked on the second play. Fortunately, the Lions guy didn't actually take Jaden to the ground, and the pressure on the first play, like, d what was the point? I mean, you had McLaurin out there, you had Diggs out there. I guess I just don't get it. If you're gonna play him, Daniels, why not commit to more? Like, okay, if the first drive went 8 plays and you maybe got points or whatever, okay, maybe that could be enough. 3 plays, and in the scenario where basically the last play was a draw, a give up draw, like, I don't quite understand what to make of that. Now all that said, I obviously wanna go back and look at it. I know on the, um, sack, it looked like John Bates was coming down to block from the right side and just simply did not get there quick enough, and the defensive lineman was up the field before Bates could even do anything about it. Then, as Jaden tried to run away to the outside, Chigakonkwo's guy was Chig was there, but the pressure had come all the way up to the top of the pocket, hemming Daniels, and then he got sacked on that play. In general though, and they continue to watch here as once you had Sam Hartman and Cali Madison, the pressure was still there. It is hard to feel great about where the offensive line is right now. And like I said, it's not for me so much the Brandon Coleman of it all. It's kind of the cascading effect of everybody else without Tunsil being in there. Obviously, no Allegretti, that doesn't help. But again, 3 plays. I mean, even like Connerly and Chris Paul left after the 3 plays, so they really did not give the starting offense any real opportunity. They were very shorthanded at running back. Um, if you had said to me they're going to decide to sit Jaden because of the fact that they were afraid of pass protection from the running back, whatever, they didn't do that. So not ideal, to say the least. And there was a play also here where, uh, with the backups, Trent Scott's at left tackle, and the play, it's a Robert Henry run to the outside left. The tackle needs to get out there to be the lead block on the defender. I think it was a corner, and Trent Scott was just too slow to get out there, and the defender got up the field before he could get there. And I just like I said, I think if Trent Scott's your like ninth offensive lineman, okay, which is kind of like saying if we get hurt in the game, we need somebody to come in and play. He's a vet; he'll know what to do. He can play a couple of different spots. But longer term, this is not a real thing, and left tackle, definitely not a real thing. So the idea that Trent Scott right now feels like it's Andrew Wiley is like the 6th offensive lineman and Trent Scott's like 7th is a example of where the struggles are here. Didn't have the chance to really see what was going on inside at center, but not because watching on TV. But a lot of questions here for the offensive line. Um, Without a doubt. So, yeah, is, Blau getting his ass handed to him? I mean, again, it's preseason. I know Detroit's not playing all their guys either, but still, um, I don't know that Blau's getting his, ass handed to him per se, but at the same point, obviously, the offense was 3 and out and looked pretty terrible. Are our injuries during camp unique? I don't know for sure, but I can't imagine other teams are so banged up. I haven't looked at like every team, but like the injuries happen. I mean, there have been some teams, some guys have had season-ending injuries already out there. I think it's just pretty common these days for everybody to be hurt and banged up to a certain degree. And again, at the moment, Johnny Newton is the biggest. Well, Tunsil's the biggest concern. Johnny Newton, is going to be out for a long chunk of time. It's the other injuries right now to Oway and Chason and Payne and maybe Bill and others that we're like, okay, what's the deal here? Is it short term or is it something more than that? And because they don't have to tell us much, we don't know much per se. A couple times again, it sounds like Payne's issue is relatively minor. Sounds like Rashad White's hamstring isn't that big of a deal. He was out there stretching yesterday or on Thursday as well. So there you go. I don't, we'll just have to see what happens here down the stretch. I am curious always to see which players are still playing in the second half that we would consider to be part of the main roster. There could be some positions where some guys just need to keep playing, but like, who's playing safety? If like Will Harris is out here, that's probably not a great sign for him in terms of making the roster. Again, we will see. Quan Martin again now has 2 interceptions in 2 preseason games. He had 2 interceptions, I think the last 2 seasons in over 33 games uh, total. So, um, so there you go. All right, looks like the broadcast is getting ready to come back. So I'm going to jump off here. Again, I'll be back some point post game. I'll do a podcast as well, and I'll write something up here as well. Okay, cool. Let's see some offense already. Come on.